don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Hey team, I hope you're all doing well. Today's topic, I wanted to discuss some sub 3-hour marathon workouts that if it was me and I was trying to run 2:59:59 for the distance, which I know a lot of you out there are trying to break the 3-hour marathon barrier, these are some of the things I would really be thinking about. Most importantly, I would focus on a 5 to 6 month block of training, because you want to make sure that you give yourself sufficient time to prepare properly in order to have the highest success rate in order to break the 3-hour marathon. You don't want to try to cram all of your training in a matter of 8 weeks. Okay, it's going to take you want to have like 4 to 8 weeks of aerobic mileage built first before you start working into specific marathon training. That really, so if you're doing a 24-week block of training, focus on the first 8 weeks, building your aerobic base, doing some strides, 5 to 6 50-meter strides 3 times per week. Okay, I would focus on doing that and just focus on building that endurance base first before you start into that 16-week section where you start really focusing on how do I get sub 652 mile pace or 416 kilometer pace to feel more manageable for myself. Okay, I always talk about getting outside of the habit of just running long, slow, easy, long runs. Okay, you do want to focus on long, slow, easy, long runs in the initial stages of your buildup. Okay, first, because you don't want to jump into doing faster, very paced long runs in the first like 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, again, a 24 weeks or 6 months is preferable in terms of the optimal time frame for you to have the best chance of success of breaking the 3-hour marathon barrier. Some of the other things I would think about doing, I would work to get to a point where I could do 6 1-mile repetitions on the track, running around 6 minutes to 6:05 per rep, or slightly faster than that, maybe like 5:55 to 5:58 range. Again, you want to get 6:52 mile pace to feel easier for you, and unfortunately, it's not something that's going to happen overnight. I like I mentioned before, a longer buildup is always the better way to go. Also, if it was me trying to break 3 hours, I would think about getting my anaerobic threshold run, which, or AT pace, getting that AT run out to around 10 to 12 miles. Okay, so around 16 kilometers to 19 kilometers or so. Getting that particular, where you're running at your anaerobic threshold, you're running at significantly a little bit faster than goal race pace. And again, you want to make sure that you first focus on, okay, I need to first adapt to running 3 to 4 miles at anaerobic threshold effort before I start moving toward getting out to 10 to 12 miles. Okay, so Dr. Joe Vigil, one of the world's best distance running coaches, as well as a world-renowned exercise physiologist, in his book Road to the Top, states it takes 28 days for the body to adapt to any stress load being placed on it. So these sub 3-hour marathon workouts, they definitely will challenge you both mentally and physically. You're not going to adapt to this in a matter of days. It's a matter of weeks. So if you're having a hard time right now, say doing repeat 400s on the track at say like 125 to 127, trust me, continue to do that. Continue to focus on that particular intensity for 3 to 4 weeks, preferably 4 weeks before moving to the next intensity. If you can get that to the point where you're patient enough in the early buildup of your training, you're going to be running so much faster and more in control about 4 weeks down the line after your body has adapted to that specific intensity. In terms of the long run distance, if I'm training to break a sub 3-hour marathon, one of my sub 3-hour marathon workouts would be doing long runs out to around 20 to 22 miles in length, and get in the habit of staying consistent with these long runs, because they are absolutely the bread and butter when it comes to performing at a very high level in the marathon distance. Okay, if you're training for a marathon, your long run should not be 12 to 13 miles. Okay, that's more of a, if you're training for a 10K or you're training for a 10 miler, 12 to 13 miles is okay. You're going to build some endurance. You're going to have some, as long as, again, you're not just in that long, slow distance running mentality. You'll do fine with a 10 or with around 12 to 13 miles if you're training for, say, like a 10K or a 10 miler. But for the marathon distance, especially if you're trying to run 2:59:59, which in my opinion is an elite time for a male or a female, it's such a difficult barrier to break. And there's a lot of runners around the world that have been training their whole lives that have never broken 3 hours for the marathon. So once you do that, and once you're getting close to that particular barrier, you're stepping up your game. I mean, you're going into a level of running that very few runners around the world achieve. And sure, if other runners can do it, so can you. But how long it takes you to do it is really going to be based on how you set up your training. You have to be strategic. You have to believe in specificity and periodization when it comes to training properly to break the 3-hour marathon. On RunDreamAchieve.com, I have a course that I built called the Sub 3-Hour Marathon Pro course. If that's of interest to you, you can check that out. And also below these videos, all my videos, you'll see the resources there that are located there for courses and training plans. And I also coach athletes one-on-one monthly as well. So that if that's an interest to you, that's available to you. But that particular course, I go from A to Z, practically everything I know and I've been taught as a marathoner. I cover in that course, from heart rate training to mental training, to long runs, tempo runs, anaerobic threshold training, VO2 max workouts, which brings me to another thing that I would definitely be focusing on in terms of sub 3-hour marathon workouts is training at your VO2 max. You're running around 95 to 100% of your max heart rate. Example of that for me today, I did 4 1-mile repetitions at 5:18 mile pace. Okay, my goal marathon race pace at this point right now is to run a marathon at 6:11 mile pace. So 5:18 mile pace is about a full minute faster than my goal marathon race pace. Yes, I could have done more repetitions, but I'm getting closer to my marathon. So there is a point where I am going to start dropping keep the intensity very high, but I'm going to start dropping the volume of my anaerobic workouts. So for the athlete that's training for a sub 3-hour marathon, one of your sub 3-hour marathon workouts should be getting to a point where you can do 4 to 6 1-mile repetitions, or even out to 10 1-mile repetitions, preferably on the roads rather than like on a treadmill or even on a track, because 10 1-mile reps on a track, that's a long way. On the roads, it just seems a little bit shorter, but it's still the same distance. But you want to get to a point where you can do those mile repeats down towards 6-minute mile pace. Okay, so again, even like I mentioned before, like even in the high 550s, maybe like 556 to 558, around that range, out to around 610, 552 to 610 per mile. That's going to help you to not only improve your body's lactate tolerance, but it's going to help you to, one, handle that 652 mile pace that you need to maintain over 26.2 miles, or handle that 416 kilometer pace for the 42.2 kilometers that you're going to have to hold to run a 2:59:59. So I think that one VO2 max workout per week is key. One anaerobic threshold run or tempo run. I would alternate that. Okay, like a tempo run is about around 10 to 12 seconds slower than your anaerobic threshold. Okay, so you can run your tempo runs a little bit further versus an anaerobic threshold workout. AT pace is pretty aggressive running. So one week do a tempo run, the next week do an anaerobic threshold run. Okay, one weekend you do an easy, relaxed long run, and even if you're further along in your build-up, you always alternate. Run an easy, relaxed long run one weekend, followed the next weekend by a long run where you're sprinkling in some faster efforts. Okay, that might mean like doing, say if you're further along your build-up, and say you're doing a 20 to 24 week build-up, and you have a 20-mile run plan, maybe that means 5 miles easy, 5 miles at your anaerobic threshold, 5 miles easy, 5 miles at goal marathon race pace. So again, you're changing up the intensities where you're not just running relaxed and easy. You're running at a higher heart rate. You're running at a higher percentage of your max heart rate, but you're also running because you're running at a faster pace, your body requires much more oxygen. You're going to be a little bit more challenged versus if you were just running relaxed and slow and easy. Okay, so, but always follow the faster, very paced long run the following week with an easy, relaxed long run. Okay. Another thing I would focus on in terms of, this may not be a sub 3 hour marathon workout, but I would focus on the taper phase. Okay. Don't start dropping your intensity and volume until you're out about 10 days out from your goal marathon. Okay. This is to keep your legs revved up, keep yourself reminded of what you're training your legs to do. And then once you hit 10 days out, then start focusing on, okay, I'm going to drop significantly. So if 3 weeks out, I was at 80 miles a week, 10 days out, I'm going to be more like around 45 to 55 miles out, 45 to 55 miles for that 10 days out for the marathon. And then the week of the marathon, you're practically hardly doing anything. It's really, pretty much just some maintenance miles, some jogging miles, maybe one light workout about 4 days out from your goal marathon. And that's pretty much it. Maybe including the marathon, you will have run maybe 40 miles the week of the marathon, including the marathon. So really, 12 to 13 miles or so or less leading into your marathon. You really want to be fully rested. And again, 10 days is plenty of time to fully recover from your 20 to 24 week block of training. So I hope in terms of sub 3 hour marathon workouts, this video has been helpful for you. If you have any other questions, or if you're definitely, I would love to hear from all of you that have broken the 3 hour marathon. Leave your comments below and let the community know some of the things that really helped you personally to run that 2:59 or faster time. And I'm sure that the people that are out there, the other athletes that are watching these videos that are trying to break the 3 hour marathon would really appreciate that, hearing it also from your viewpoint of what helped you break that barrier. So thank you all so much for your support of this channel. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave me a comment below. I'll reach back out and respond back to you. And like I said, if you're trying to race at a higher level, check out the resources on RunDreamAchieve.com or below these videos. And I'm certain that the training plans, the courses, the ebooks, these resources will help you get to a new level in your training. So thank you so much for your support, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.